The Association of International Education Administrators, or AIEA, is the only association focused exclusively on international education leaders. Founded in 1982, AIEA is celebrating its 40th anniversary in 2022. AIEA has been supporting international education leaders throughout its 4 decades.
AIEA is a member organization that equips leaders to shape the future of higher education in a global context. Its members embrace values of ethical and innovative leadership, equity and inclusive excellence, and respect and curiosity.
I joined AIEA because I knew it was the right move to grow my career as a senior international officer. From my previous role at AIEA Secretariat and transitioning to this university, I knew AIEA has a breadth of resources, a mentorship program, and the professional community that will be critical. And being connected with AIEA has been so rewarding.
A small group of people across the country came to recognize that they needed to be networked, that they could benefit from getting to know one another and learning from one another, and that was the genesis of the association. So in St. Louis, 1982, we got together and we decided we would organize around the model of the Texas International Education Association, which was led by Joe Neal and involved many universities, public in Texas. In the beginning, we had several key people. Chuck Classic was one. I mentioned Joe Neal. Vic Bhatia from Washington State University was an important player because he took on responsibility as the first secretariat of the association and did that on volunteer way. We were very pleased to have Barbara Byrne show up at one of our meetings. I think that was the one in Puerto Rico. But she came around and we were very pleased to have her come to our meeting. And she was, a few years later, elected president, the first female president. But we had excellent leadership with people like Joanna McCarthy, Maria Crane. Oh, lots of people worked hard. Let me think. Tom Hemeke was an important person, University of North Texas.
SUNY Buffalo was very pleased to host the AIEA Secretariat from 1998 to 2004, when it then moved to Duke University. During its time in Buffalo, Timothy Rutenberg very ably served as executive director, and he was much appreciated for his dedicated service to the membership, and he was especially helpful to me during my time as AIEA president.
AIA came up for bids in the first part of the century. I was Vice Provost for International Affairs at Duke, and I organized the bid, which fortunately was successful. Our first executive director at Duke was Jeff Holzgrave, who had to leave at the end of the first year for family reasons. And I was able to hire the marvelous Darla Deerdorf to be the executive director, a position she has filled ever since with incredible grace and foresight. The period that followed was a period of intense growth triggered by several factors. The first factor was a new strategic plan chaired by Val Nolan and initiated by Stephen Dunnett. The plan opened up membership and focused our attention on professional development services. A second element in our growth was the boom in international education and study abroad and foreign students, things like that. The third element was the constant fine-tuning of AIA's professional development services and activities under the leadership of the board and of Darla and her staff and the various members of the presidential stream. The result was that AIA grew very rapidly. It tripled its membership, quadrupled attendance at annual meetings, and became the success that it is today. In 2018, AIA left Duke to become an independent organization, and I think that move symbolized its autonomy and its maturity. It remains a great organization, and I'm pleased to have been a part of it.
Over the past few years, AIEA has become a fully independent organization, achieving a much more global approach in its organization and in its reach. It has launched a week-long leadership academy for new senior international officers, and I'm pleased to serve as one of the faculty of this academy. It has also developed standards of professional practice for international education leaders, and I recall working closely with other colleagues in the field to help develop these standards. Over the past few weeks, AIEA has been able to finally publish a seminal Handbook of International Higher Education, 2nd edition, and I am one of the editors of this volume. Just as importantly, AIEA has become much more diverse in its membership and leadership. And I am pleased to say that I was, or am, the first African American to have served as president of AIEA.
The AIEA 2020 conference in Washington, D.C. was the largest conference in the history of AIEA, with nearly 1,000 attendees from over 40 countries, with delegations from such countries as Angola, Brazil, Cambodia, and Kazakhstan. The 2020 conference was also the last in-person conference in the field of international education, with the world shutting down from the COVID pandemic soon after that. During these last 2 years of COVID, AIEA has stepped up to support its members during these troubling times, and now emerges for its return to in-person conferences to celebrate its 40th anniversary, looking to the future with renewed courage, resilience, and hope.
The future of AIEA is bright. We will courageously embrace justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion as more leaders from around the world join the association, ready and willing to help shape the field of international higher education like never before. I am so looking forward to working together as we make our differences make a difference across borders.